In this question, we're given that f of x is equal to 5x squared plus 4x, and we need to find the following. In part A, we have function notation. We want to find what f of 0 is. So that means when x is 0, what is the output value, or what we're used to knowing as what the y value is when we're graphing equations. So what we have to do is plug in x, wherever we see x in the given equation, we have to plug in x is 0 and simplify down. We'll get a number as a result. So first we want to take 5 times, 0 squared plus 4 times 0. Remember, we have to square 0 first, which is still 0, and then multiply by 5, so that's 0, and then plus 4 times 0, well that's still 0, so we have 0 plus 0 is 0. So that's a point on the Cartesian plane at the origin. It goes through x is equal to 0, and the output value, what we used to know as y, is now f of x, which is 0. So it goes through the point 0, 0, or the origin. In the next question, we want to find the function evaluated when x is negative 1. So that means we go back to our original equation, f of x equals 5x squared plus 4x, and plug in where x is equal to negative 1 and simplify down. So we have 5 times negative 1 squared plus 4 times negative 1. And when we simplify down, we have to take negative 1, square it first, so it becomes positive 1. So positive 1 times 5 becomes a positive 5. And then we have a 4 times a negative 1, which is a negative 4. So we simplify down 5 minus 4, or positive 1. Final answer. So this goes through the point, this expression, f of x equals x squared plus 4x, also goes through the point when x is negative 1, the output, or y, same thing as f of x, is 1. So we're just developing coordinates, points, so that we could graph. Well, f of t is just saying wherever we see x in the original equation, we're going to plug in t instead. So we're going to take x, so at 5, we see x, so we're going to put in t. And then the same thing when we see 4 times x, we're going to plug in t. So that's all that the question is having us do. In the final question, we want to find the function evaluated when x is t minus 1. We're going to plug in wherever we see x in the original equation, we're going to plug in t minus 1. And then simplify down. So first we have to FOIL out, or use a distributive property for this. It's like t minus 1 times t minus 1, which is a binomial times a binomial. So doing that, leaving the 5 on the outside, t minus 1 times t minus 1 looks like this. So then we're just going to distribute out we can either distribute out the 5 times the t minus 1 first, or we can just distribute out with inside the t minus 1. Let's leave the 5 on the outside for now, and multiply the t minus 1 times t minus 1. We'll get t squared. Outside term is minus t. Inside term is minus t, so that's minus 2t. And then minus 1 times minus 1 is a positive 1. We can distribute out on this other one, so we get positive 4t minus 4. Let's distribute out the 5t squared, and the 5 to the negative 2t, and then the 5 to the positive 1. So we end up with 5t squared minus 10t plus 5, and then just carry down the plus 4t minus the 4. Now we're going to combine all like terms that we have in our equation so far. So we have negative 10t and a positive 4t we can combine. Those are of like thing. So we can combine and we get 5t squared, writing in descending order first, minus 6t, that's combining the negative 10t and a positive 4t. And then we're going to combine positive 5 plus a negative 4, which becomes a positive 1. Well, we can leave it in that format, or perhaps we want to factor it out. So we can leave it this way, or we could factor it out. I don't see a greatest common factor, so I can't factor via greatest common factor, but maybe I can do a reverse FOIL. So I start off with 2 binomials, I take the factors of 5t squared, which is going to be 5t and t, and then I look at the factors of positive 1. Well, the factors of positive 1 are positive 1 and positive 1, or negative 1 times negative 1. Well, I need the negative because I need to get to negative 6 in the center, so when I add them together, I get negative 6t. So I can check my work, and I can multiply 5t times t is 5t squared. Outside term is negative 5t. Inside term is negative 1t. That will be negative 6t. And then one last term is negative 1 times negative 1, which becomes a positive 1. So either of these answers are perfectly fine. Just helps us get familiar with factoring a little bit further.